Welcome back to Callahan's Corner, where you ask the questions, we answer them live right here on Facebook. Well, I've got two pre-submitted questions from the service industry, specific service autopilot, but this will probably apply to some other softwares as well. But the main idea is if you're inside service autopilot, these pre-submitted questions are actually good questions and good problems to have. So I'm going to read the first one here. Is there a filter on estimates page to see what is scheduled or has been scheduled? We recently did an upsell campaign and have around 51 estimates. We'd like to see which ones have been scheduled or not. So I want to give a big shout out to Mike here, one of our clients with the SimpleGrowth upsell process. So not unusual to win 50, 70, sometimes 100 new jobs in less than a week. And it's a good problem. But how do you go out and actually figure out how to know what jobs have been scheduled and haven't been scheduled? So I'm going to dive into that. And then the second question to answer is from Taylor Callahan. Is there a way to know how much of each chemical you need for your lawn applications based on the dispatch? So also a scheduling plus how do we go out and order products for chemicals or mulch or pine straw based on some different things on the dispatch board. So I'm going to dive into Mike's question first of how do we know what estimates have been scheduled and haven't been scheduled when you sell 50 plus jobs in a few days from, I'm guessing, probably from a SimpleGrowth upsell. So if you're watching and you're using those upsells, feel free to drop some comments on there, but pretty crazy. We're seeing people getting 60, 70 estimate requests in 2 to 3 hours with these upsells. So now how do we go out and actually schedule these jobs and know if they've been won? So what I'm going to do is open up the screen here and answer Mike's and then Taylor's question. So here we go. Without any further delay, I'm jumping into SA. To save a little time, what I have done is gone into the gear icon and go into estimate stages. So these are the estimate stages set on the actual estimate itself. So what we're going to do is go in and create a there's some generic ones in here, but I would recommend one needs to be scheduled. And I'm going to add another one in here, one scheduled. And once we have that one scheduled, in here, we're going to go in and hit save. So now we have both of those in there. And what we're going to do is go in down to our estimate list and filter down by stage and go into one scheduled and hit applied, or one needs to schedule and hit apply. And that is how we're going to actually be able to do that. Now, if we go in to an actual estimate itself and go to a test client and show you what that looks like on the estimate itself, where there's different stages off to the right. And when we go in there, we can change that reason or stage right here. So under that stage, you have the ability to go in one need to schedule, one or one scheduled. So based on that, on the estimate, when we schedule it, we'd go in and hit schedule. Now this is a lead, so it's not going to allow us to schedule it yet. So the proper way to do is go in and hit convert. And then we go into schedule it and go in and update the one scheduled or one needs to be scheduled, hit apply, and then schedule that job. And that's going to change this stage once we schedule it here. So we're going to go in and set it. One needs to be scheduled, one scheduled based on where we're at. And then we go into the estimate stages, set that up, and then we go into the CRM estimates, pull it up, and dial into that filter to be able to see what's been won and what has not been scheduled yet, or what has been scheduled. In addition, when you schedule it, there also is a little bubble here that literally goes in. It says scheduled on it. So it's a visual clue on the estimate itself. So that is Mike's question there. Recommend estimate stages. Set up one scheduled, needs to be scheduled, and then be able to go down to your CRM estimates and filter down to what jobs have been scheduled or not scheduled based on a time range on those filters. Second question, if you're joining late or just as a refresher, Taylor Callahan, is there a way to know how much of each chemical you need for each lawn application based on what has been dispatched or about to be dispatched? Yes, absolutely. This applies for pine straw, mulch, or anything else that you're running as a quantity. So what we're going to be doing is going into the dispatch board, going into columns and scrolling down to the bottom. Now this test account has many turf square footages, but the one I need in this test account here is the last one. And that is right here. So I'm going to click that checkbox. And when I do that, that is going to open up the turf square footage here. So I've got Monday, the 514 here in this test account. So right here, this is the square footage. So I have 1.6 million square feet. Based on that, what is the coverage of the bag or the liquid? And we would be able to go in. Obviously, we're missing some square footages here in the test account, but we would be able to go and dial in for a projected day or maybe the next round, open it up on your waiting list. You can do this on the waiting list as well and say, what is the projected material ordering I need to do for my chemicals or my mulch or my pine straw? Anything that's based on a square footage, we can back that number out. So the expert workflow that I would recommend is going into columns, scrolling to the bottom and grabbing your custom field right here of whatever that is. Now, if we're doing snow removal, we can do parking lot square footage. I got a couple of those right here. How much rock salt, how much sidewalk melt do we need for the season based on the average number of trips? Or in this case scenario with this pre-submitted question, that added column right there is turf square footage. That's going to let us know how much fertilizer or chemicals we need, or if it's bed square footage, how much mulch or pine straw we're going to need. So really two good questions there. If you have any comments or questions, drop below in the live or recorded feed. But Callahan's Corner, we're here to answer your questions for expert workflow in your service business and workflow inside Service Autopilot. So Mike and Taylor, thanks again for those great questions, and happy to answer the next round of questions tomorrow that come around. Callahan's Corner, you ask the questions, we answer them live right here on Facebook.